Hey, everybody, it's Brendon Baillod from the Great Lakes Shipwreck Research Group. I'm here with my good friend Bob Jaeck. We're here for another Ghost Ships Festival speaker sneak peek. We're going to tell you a little bit about our talk that we're giving at the Ghost Ships Festival, aren't we, Bob?
Yes, we are. Been looking forward to this for years, and it's coming soon. It's going to be a great event. Good time to get together with old friends again that we haven't seen in a while.
Definitely. Bob and I were two of the original founders of the Ghost Ships Festival back in 2000 in Milwaukee. The first one was held at Centennial Hall back in 2000. So it's pretty exciting for us to be part of this and to be both helping to put on the new one. So, well, let's get started. Bob, I'm going to go ahead and hide our.
Can you hear me, Brendan? Okay. I can hear you now. I lost you for a bit.
Sorry, I'm having difficulties with the software. Okay, we're here. So this is me and Bob at Copper Harbor doing a little bit of side scan work together a few years ago. A little bit of background about me. I've been looking for shipwrecks for since I was in my 20s, and most of that was spent with Bob. I'm the president of the Wisconsin Underwater Archaeology Association. Bob, tell them about yourself.
I've been diving from 1977 to 2019, and now I just research history, shipwrecks, and go out looking for them. And I'm a board member on the Wisconsin Underwater Archaeological Association, which you are, like you said, the president of.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, a lot of people may not know about WUA. We're a nonprofit 501c3 organization, and it predates Bob and I by quite a bit. WUA's been around for 30 years. It was founded by our first state underwater archaeologist, David Cooper, as a way to train divers to help the state survey all the shipwrecks that the state ended up with as a result of the Abandoned Shipwreck Act of 1987. Because it was sort of an overwhelming task for a staff of one underwater archaeologist to suddenly deal with, 1,000 shipwrecks that Wisconsin ended up with. So WUA was a key organization for that, and one that Bob and I are proud to continue its legacy here 30 years on. So, all right. So Bob and I, a few years back, decided that we were going to we start looking for shipwrecks in deep water. We had a little sonar that we were using for archaeological survey that was really cool from Deep Vision that we got from Jim Kennard. But this is something that Bob and I built together. Bob, tell them a little bit about the Wreck Sniffer series.
Well, I think, what was it, 2021, we put this together, and it's a towed sonar. We put it out in the water behind our boats, so we can control the depth a little bit by boat speed and weight on it. And it stabilizes much better than a hull mounted. It gets below some of the thermocline. It can reach out at a maximum up to 1,200 foot aside. So your swath would be 2,400 feet on the perfect day with perfect conditions. And we've been getting some pretty good results with this. We've been doing real well with it.
Yeah, it covers almost a third of a mile wide swath of the bottom. And Bob fabricated this fish, and I put together and I wired it up, and we balanced it, and it just works great. I can't tell you what a nice little unit this has been for us. For $800, we can get pretty good stuff. I'm almost as good as what you used to spend 50,000 on back in the day. Well, the Trinidad. So how did we get interested in this wreck? It must have been about 30 years ago. I started building a database of all the ships that were still missing in Wisconsin waters. And not the ones that have been found, not dive targets, but things that could be found by wreck hunting. And eventually it served as the basis for my book, Fathoms Deep But Not Forgotten, Wisconsin's Lost Ships, which is, about every ship lost in southern Wisconsin waters. But as I was doing the database, I started to notice sort of the top 20 wrecks that were findable. Now, a number of those have been found since I did the database, but this is one that was in my top 5 back in 1995. and I knew that it could be found, and that it was in a good spot. It was obscure. Not a lot of people even knew about the Trinidad. It's not a wreck that many people ever heard of. And I kind of tucked it away. And Bob and I made it a back project, or back burner project, that we were going to find this ship. This is the only known photo of her. My friend John Rochon owns the original of this. It's from a original cabinet card from Sarnia, Ontario, when she was overwintering in 1873. So I guess the rest is history. Bob and I decided we were going to go look for this ship on the bottom. She was a canal schooner, as you can see. And near the end of her life, I'm not going to talk a lot about it because we want to leave some detail for the presentation. But needless to say, we set out a search grid and went hunting. Bob, tell the folks about the search.
Well, it was 2 days that we were out there, July 14th and July 15th of last year, 2023. And in our presentation, we're going to talk about what challenges we had, what didn't work, what did work, and the ups and downs of the whole thing. And looking at this photo, it doesn't look like we did a lot, but those runs, what were they, Brendon? They were 3-4 miles long each, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. If you do the math and multiply how many fours those are, that's 2 full days of running grid at 6 miles an hour.
Right. That's a lot of work and a lot of patience. We're both very patient.
That's right. And it was big waves for the first day. And when we got out on the second day, I think I was just about near the center of the grid. And I said to Bob, Bob, this is about where the captain's account places the wreck. And what was it, Bob? 5 minutes later?
A little bit more than that. But when you said that, I actually knew it. And I was feeling some excitement and I was expecting something to happen. But you sit there and on the other hand, you think, well, it's not, we're just doing another run. It's just another part of the grid. But if you're going to find it, this is the sweet spot. And within minutes after you said that, we had a target.
That we did. And it don't look like much. Tell them about the moment, Bob.
Well, this is what we saw. And like you said, this does not look like much. And we didn't turn around on this right away. We talked for almost a minute going back and forth if we should turn the boat around and come back or if we should stay on our grid and keep collecting data. And we decided, because of a number of factors we're going to talk about in the show, of why we did decide to go back and take another look at this, adjusting things. And this turned out to be it. Just this smudge. Amazing.
Yeah, and I think part of it is, when you're really searching, we're going 6 miles an hour, and we're on 1,250 foot resolution per channel. Mm-hmm. So at that speed, you're not looking to print out a pretty picture of the ship. At that speed, you're going to get a smudgy looking thing like this. It ain't going to look like much, and it'll be compressed and look all strange. And we kind of figured that, when we went back over it again, it dispelled all doubt. Well, it was a pretty exciting afternoon for old Bob and me. We got in. We called up Tammy Thompson, our state underwater archaeologist, and she got Tom Crossman from Crossman Consulting to come out there, because even though we were pretty sure we knew what the ship was, we needed to get some survey data on it so that we could at least establish that it was a shipwreck. Because we weren't. I'll be 100% honest with you. We weren't 100% sure what it was, because we thought there was maybe a field of targets. We kept running it over with different laybacks on the fish, and it showed that it could have been maybe 3 different targets. And then we started thinking it was junk dumped off a barge maybe. So we were pretty excited when we got out there with Tom and Tammy, and he does this with the forward-looking sonar on the ROV. Go ahead, Bob.
This is just amazing. I mean, there's very few places in the world where you can come across something like this. We're so blessed, and it's so exciting to have this in our backyard here in Wisconsin and part of the Great Lakes. This is just really something special.
Yeah, there aren't many places in the world where there are, 130, 140, 150-year-old ships sitting intact and out underwater that have never been found. and since the day they went down, and you can go out there and these things are still going to be there like this. It really is a unique area we live in. Well, and so you can see, by length, she was about right, and we knew right away that we had the Trinidad for sure based upon the length. But wasn't really until Tammy Thompson went down with Jaeck Whitrock, and they did some pretty detailed dives on the wreck and took some great photos. This is Tammy Thompson's photo looking in the cabin, and you can see the dishes that have fallen out of the cabinet there, and really, everything's still in there. And it's the what's unique about this wreck is the pilot house stayed on it, and so it's a time capsule, literally.
It really is that, and that's another thing with these shipwrecks, that exactly quite often when they sunk and everything in there. I mean, it just time stops on that date at this place, and it's just amazing, and it's humbling to see this, of how people lived back then, and how blessed we are nowadays.
Yeah, one of the things that we bring to this, now that we're able to find these deeper wrecks. This wreck is in about 260, I think. And it's diveable by tech divers. It's not a treacherous technical dive, but we're able to do things like this with photogrammetry. So this is something that Jaeck Whitrock did. He and Tammy on their dive. He spent, I think, 3.5 hours on the dive with about 30 minutes of bottom time. So that's about mostly three hours coming up. But he completely swam around the wreck at 360 degrees, taking a photo every 2 seconds, and basically collected 3,600 stills in high resolution. And those were uploaded to a photogrammetry program and stitched together to create a 3D model of the ship. And we're going to have a virtual 3D reality headset, an Oculus, there at Ghost Ships Festival, and we'll be giving tours of this where you can literally walk down the deck of the vessel and look in the doors and look in the windows and look down in the holds. It's really like being there.
Yeah, this is what Jaeck did here is just amazing. I mean, it's just mind blowing, and to realize that we found this here, it's really nice to have this to put the context together.
Yeah, definitely. And so, we're going to go into a lot more detail and tell you a lot more of the story and give you a lot more, graphical information, plus a lot more about the vessel's history. But one of the things that's coming up with this wreck, and the reason why we approached it the way we did, is we kind of wanted to make this a case study in how to respond to a new shipwreck discovery. A lot of times wreck hunters are like dogs that chase cars, right? They think all about the find and the hunt, but they don't think anything about what they're gonna do if they find the dang thing, right? Bob and I gave a lot of thought to what we were going to do and how we were going to respond, and the information dissemination plan. We had all sorts of things in mind about this, but the big thing we wanted to do was we wanted to get it listed on the National Register of Historic Places, because it establishes that the wreck is truly historic and is covered under the Abandoned Shipwreck Act of 1987, and is thereby protected by the state, by state archaeological laws. So this wreck, I wrote the nomination with Tammy Thompson. I wrote the historical part of it, and it was submitted. And on February 23rd, this wreck is going to be considered formally for inclusion. And Bob and I will go and attend it, and it's going to be a really exciting time. We're both going to be in Madison at the state capitol to see this wreck nominated to the National Register. Comments, Bob?
Nope, looking forward to it. And this is property of all the people of Wisconsin, and I feel good that it's going to be protected and recognized as it should be.
Yeah, definitely. And I think too, Bob and I, our real goal here was to show sort of, like I say, best practices, or to establish. We consider this sort of a case study in how, in creating a good outcome for a new shipwreck discovery. That was our intention with this. We have a number of other wrecks that we're going out for. One of the things Bob and I decided to do is, instead of doing these wreck hunts sort of just as our own personal projects, we decided to make them all WUAA projects, because we want to involve other people, get other people the chance to go out and look for wrecks with us, and to be allow other people to be involved in these discoveries. And so our two of our big rec hunts this year, the board of directors of the WUAA has agreed to accept as WUAA projects, and those are going to be available to WUAA members. So if you want to go out rec hunting with us, or you want to help survey these sites after we locate them, join the WUAA. It's $20 a year. It's pretty darn cheap. WUAA.org. That's all about I wanted to cover. Bob, anything else for you?
Nope. We're looking forward to ghost ships and to another good year of field work. And I just hope to meet everybody and get to talk with everybody. And thank you for your time, and hope to see you at Ghost Ships.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. And if you haven't pre-registered for Ghost Ships, please do. Go to ghostshipsfestival.com and get your registration in for it. It helps us to know how many people are coming. $20 if you pre-register. That's pretty cheap. $25 if you pay at the door. So save you $5. Register ahead of time. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining Bob and I tonight. And do come and hear us talk at the Ghost Ships Festival. Good night.
Good night, everybody.